I don't appreciate how you treated me, how you treated me as a woman, and you thought that I was just some kind of cook and cleaner, and you didn't respect my intelligence. I understand you felt intimidated that you recognized that my IQ was higher than yours, and you felt somewhat intimidated, but then you used that against me and created a situation where I couldn't really use my intelligence because you kept forbidding me, quote unquote, forbidding me to go to school so I could get a real job instead of working these minimum wage jobs. So there was a whole dynamic there that was very disrespectful and dysfunctional, and I resent everything that I resented how I cooked for you, and then you didn't like how it was, and you would just toss the food across the room,
Wow.
and then I'd have to clean it off the walls and clean up the broken dishes. It was just horrible, and I resented how you treated the dogs too. You were mean to the dogs, although you loved them, and yet I understand. So it's complicated.
Okay, so when you put it all together, what did you learn from your relationship with Elle?
That's a very good question. I learned that I needed to do more work and learn how to do relationships better. And I needed to make better choices, and I needed to vet my potential partners better and get more into their story about, how they were raised, how they were treated, because somehow that would come full circle to me. And I learned, not necessarily from that one, but I learned further down the line that you really need a professional counselor sometimes. And had I been able to do it over, I would have gotten us to counseling, but I don't even know if there was anything really available in those days.
Oh, it's all the time. Even if you are, like we are, professional counselors, when you let instinctual energies out that have been disowned or developed for a long time, they come out way too raw. Almost no couple I know, not even Hal and Sidra, can handle it themselves. They can, because they're in their 80s, but for most of us ordinary human beings, we need another person who can maintain a safe situation by being a therapist, or some of the little tricks that we know of, having a person talk to a pillow and talk about the person instead of directly at them when the raw instinctual stuff comes out.
Well, do you think we'll get it by the time we're 100, honey?
I think that we keep learning, and whatever we think is a center and an aware ego now will turn out to be a limited perspective tomorrow, because ultimately this is a holographic universe, and everything that's in everybody is also in us, and we're in everybody too, so that ultimately when you get it together, then you can identify with, but not be stuck in the identification of the creator of all. And any telephone calls that you hear that make sounds will just take you deeper into the process. So I would like you...
Sorry, listeners, I keep forgetting to disconnect that phone.
So I would like you to, if you see if there's anything else you want to say to Al, and if not, I would like you to bid him farewell, and to allow the farewell to be a emotional divorce from him. It doesn't mean that you won't ever see him or be friends or anything. It just means that that relationship is forever ended. Are you ready to say farewell to Al?
Yes, I first want to say to Elle, I hope that your life turned out well, that you went on and had successful relationships and you found happiness in your life. I am ready to bid you a fair adieu, farewell. And let's see, I'll sing a little song. Peace be with you, go in beauty, till we meet again in the light. Anyway, it's off key, but I was a little bit nervous.
So if you had it to do all over again, it's an important question. If you had it to do all over again, how would you do it better with Elle?
Wow, that's a very big question. Well, if I had to do it over again, I would insist on going to therapy earlier on.
Oh.
because the level of violence was too extreme for anyone to take on, and I was mistaken in thinking that I could be both the wife and the therapist.
Beautiful. And then this is the $1,000,000 question. If you're doing this question with a lover, or the preparation of this person to deal with a lover, and the question is, how can you imply the improvement in your relationship, the things you just said, like seeking therapy and so forth, to your relationship with me?
Well, I think that the same applies with this relationship. If we ever get to a point where it's really intense and negative, we've been together 15 years, we're doing pretty darn good. It's not 100% perfect, but that you and I commit to go to an outside therapist and do some therapy.
And the other question
is, you commit to that?
I commit to that. I wonder how Elle carried underdeveloped or disowned parts of yourself.
Well, I guess part of my disowned part of him was that he was more aggressive and assertive.
Entitled, you bet.
Entitled. And so what I've learned, because I was a very overdeveloped pleaser, especially in those days, I was just pure pleaser, and we went through that in an earlier episode, how I was pleaser because I had a very difficult childhood. It wasn't very safe. So we'll do an episode on the pleaser. But what was the question again? I'm sorry, I got distracted.
Oh, the question is always, how does the other person manifest parts of you that you weren't totally aware of, but you became more aware of?
And the other thing is that he was very active sexually, and I did integrate that more further. I was more, as we went further on, I was more the submissive sexually, and I wasn't always in the mood, but I did it anyway. And so I went, and using that disowned part of me, his active sexuality, I began to embrace it, not until I was in my late 30s and early 40s. I got more sexually active, and through doing therapy, I understood that I was sexually repressed because of what happened with my mother when I was very young, and she used to criticize me for masturbating. So, this therapy is very profound and effective, and it's the mystery of me, and I love exploring it and understanding, because until I met you, Dr. Lesson, I was just doing it and not really grokking or understanding what was behind the things that I did in life.
Yeah. So each of these people that we get involved with are aspects of the imago. They're resonating off of parts of ourselves that need further development. And one of the interesting things is that even if the person we hook up with doesn't initially manifest the opposite behavior of our identified primary selves, we push them into it. So if you have if you're a very neat person, you're going to probably be attracted to a sloppy guy or sloppy person. It could be man or woman, doesn't matter. So that there it is. And if it isn't your lovers, it'll be your kids. If you're a very neat person, you'll have a sloppy kid. Janet's mother was a messy person, so she's a very neat child. And so what happens is you push people into being the opposite that you need in order so that you can deal with that. So initially, Janet was nothing like my mother. She didn't nag me. She didn't yell. She didn't do all the things that my mother did. But somehow or other, until I could get into the part of myself that could criticize myself the way my mother used to do it, I got Janet to do that.
Isn't that interesting how you got me to do that? But I wanted to go and add back on the cleaning stuff. I used to get my mother to come in and clean with me. And I got into such a cleaning mania. I was just very manic about keeping everything clean and neat. It took me years. I had to learn how to, some days not make the bed. Just don't worry about it. I had to let go because I was overly clean and overly neat. And so So when I met you, you weren't as clean and neat as I was. And that's with couples all the time. There's one that's, even if you're both neatniks, there'll be one that's even neater than the other. I was involved with a neatnik, and I thought it was neat and orderly, and he was like obsessive. So it's like wherever you go, you find differences, and I think that's what opposites attract, and that's part of the imago is opposites attracting, and also healing those unresolved issues from your childhood and where you've imprinted them in the first place.
And so we would go through, just like we did with Janet and Elle, with the person that you're going through, or yourself if you're just taking yourself through it, you go through all the people that you had significant relationships with to see what you learned, to see which parts of yourself you became more aware of in the relationship, and to ask yourself very consciously how you can make things better these days. So first you have the list of everybody, and then for each of the lovers you put down how old they were and how you were involved. You write down the key events, or you tell a person. You really focus on the emotional and sexual sharing. You see the developmental tasks that you accomplished with each, and then you pretend they're before you, and you say what you longed for and what you didn't get a chance to say, what you resented. You say your demands and your appreciations, your regrets. You forgive the person, and then you say what you learned. You forgive yourself. You bid the person farewell. You look at what you would do better in the relationship if you had it to do again. You see which sub-selves you developed as a relationship in the relationship, and then you take all that and you say, how can I take this stuff and do better in the relationship I'm in now? So do look at the website and do go over it. Understand, this is all part of the context. We're having a person in Tantra school go through their parents' stuff and their past lovers' stuff, because when we get to the next lesson of Janet Does Tantra School, you'll see how this all comes together in Yoni Night.
So we are going to post more information about this imago process on two of our main websites. We have schooloftantra.com. That's school, SCHOOL, of OF, Tantra, spelled TANTRA.com, schooloftantra.com. And we will be posting more lessons on imago process and other psychotherapeutic techniques on schoolofcounseling.org. Our next Tantra School certification is February 18th to the 22nd is level 1, and February 25th to March 1st is level 2. So you can't take level 2 until you've done level 1. But you can come and do level 1, and you can take the classes once you do level 1, and then you have 3 months each level to complete the homework to get a certificate of completion. So that is schooloftantra.com. We'll have those dates on there. If you want to register, you can register on there. You want to say something, honey, before we...
just also on the website, you'll find that we have a book that takes you through a lot of these processes. It's out by, I think, was it Author House? Or
Yes, it's available on Amazon.com. It's How to Really Love a Woman. And someday we're going to do How to Really Love a Man. But we haven't gotten around to it.
But it's all there in Tantra School, though.
But Tantra School, you learn both. So, anything else we want to add today?
I think that's it.
Anyway, it's been fun. So thank you for joining us. Once again, this is Aquarian Radio. That's the other thing. Our information is on aquarianradio.com. This is Janet Kier Lesson and Dr. Sasha, sometimes known Alex Lesson, broadcasting live from Maui, Hawaii, beautiful paradise. Please join us again tomorrow. The next day you can find our archives on both Spreaker under Aquarian Radio and Blog Talk on Aquarian Radio at aquarianradio.com. So aloha for now.
Goodbye, ha.
Thanks for joining us today on Aquarian Radio. We broadcast daily, and our schedule's on aquarianradio.com. Listen live by calling 646-649-0893, or you can listen live by calling 646-649-0893. or listen to our archives on AquarianRadio.com. Join us again soon, and do tell your friends the Age of Aquarius